Great. Well, welcome everyone. This is the Zinzino Science Insights Zoom, and I'm Dr. Natalie Kather, and I'm here with my husband, Stephen Cherniske. Stephen is a nutritional biochemist, and he's been in the nutrition industry over 50 years. And in clinical medicine, I boarded in family medicine and anti-aging medicine and had a metabolic medicine, integrated medicine, hormone balancing approach with my clients. So when we were invited to come into the Zinzino Scientific Advisory Board over a year ago, we were really honored to be part of a group that's very science oriented. We love the test-based, personalized approach to nutrition. And Stephen said, let's do a weekly Zinzino Science Insights, talking to people about these concepts because it's just really good and important science.
It's good and important science. In the Sesame Street model, this episode is brought to you by the letter P. So if you're so inclined, keep track of how many times I use words that start with the letter P, and we'll add them up at the end, and you can give me your total. Because we're talking about the paradox of panacea, the panacea paradox. What is that? As Natalie mentioned, I've been in this industry both on the science side, on the industry side, on the education side. I taught clinical nutrition at two universities. I ran a clinical laboratory. I've been a consultant to over a dozen nutrition companies. I've been around the block on a lot. And in that travel, I've encountered something which is intriguing that you already know about, but I'm going to remind you that the human brain, right, is wired for short-term solutions, immediate threats. We respond to immediate threats really well. Why? Because our brain is hardwired for that. There hasn't been much change in your brain in the last 20,000 years. A little bit, but not much, which means that in effect, I am a caveman in a nice shirt. All right. And so are you. We have to understand that the brain is really hardwired for immediate threats. And that means immediate solutions. That means the simplest solution to the immediate threat that we're facing. That's what you're hardwired for. So, but that's when we were living, for the most part of human history, life expectancy was age 35. Pretty much that was it. Now we live over 7 decades. So it's a whole different environment that we find ourselves in, but your brain is still back there looking for instant results, immediate solutions, which is what is translated to in the health industry as the panacea.
It's why my clients would say, well, Dr. Kather, don't you just have a magic wand?
Yeah. Why not just, or the client that comes to you with a complex issue and all they want is a pill.
Yes.
So
And
that
only one pill.
and only one. So that comes to my next three P words, which is pills, patches, and pendants. These happen to be three ways that we are constantly bombarded with panaceas. In other words, health is complex. But hey, brain, this is the way the marketers are talking to you. Hey, human brain, ancient human brain, health is complex. And we know that that's really a problem for your ancient brain. So we're going to give you what? A panacea. We're going to give you a pill, a patch, a pendant, something that's completely safe. Remember, most of these products have no active ingredients. So they appeal to our desire for safety. They also appeal to our desire for simplicity. And because we're also busy, we're also distracted. All you got to do is put this patch on. All I got to do is wave this pendant. All I got to do is take this pill. Give it to me. Give me the panacea. Early on in my career, there was so many of these things that it was maddening. And I became known for as someone who would rain on the parade of companies who were peddling these panaceas. There's two more peddling panaceas. Now, I wasn't very popular for that. At the same time, I found my niche, which was what? Reliable, science-based, meaningful benefits that you could document in ways that you could test and you could reproduce the benefits. And that you could then go out into the marketplace with something that you could ethically promote. So we have to get rid of the panaceas. How many of you remember all the magic fruit juices? I mean, there were like a dozen magic fruit juices that were marketed back in the 90s and early 2000s, whether it was goji berry, uh, this berry, that berry, magic berries from faraway places. Remember, panaceas often come from faraway places. Why? Because that hits another part of your brain which says, oh, if it comes from a faraway place, that must be better than what I have here in my backyard. Anyway, the point being, how do we deal with this? How do we deal with this? Because we are all in the health movement. You and I are in the health movement. How do we deal with the fact that the human brain is constantly looking for simplicity when health is in reality very complex?
Well, I think that's a great thing that we have the balance test that we lead with in Zinzino. This is test-based personalized nutrition. So there are 4 tests available from Zinzino and then run by a separate company, Vitas Analytical Services, out of Oslo, Norway. And so we all want products where we can see, feel, and measure, bing, 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 measure the benefits. And we get that with these tests. And so leading with the balance test, you talk about panaceas, but the interesting thing is when we get the cell functioning better just with optimizing our omega-3 status, we do get head to toe benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll talk exactly about that. Bring up my first graphic, Natalie, which is the solution to the panacea paradox. And that is the solution is 3 things. It starts with you. You bringing awareness to this issue, to the people that you're talking to, you acknowledge that health is complex, that it requires a consistent effort over time. So you bring that awareness. Then you have a tool, all right, to help people to, to improve their health. And that tool is the Zinzino tests, as Natalie just mentioned. And of course, under the test, you have obviously the products that you know because the science is there. It has been validated by over 1.5 million tests that we've used, at least in the balance test. You have products that have been shown to improve, in other words, to move the ball down the field, get things really working better. Because why? It's the cell approach. Oh, and this is something that people can recognize pretty quickly too. They're going to ask you about all kinds of things about their health. And you're going to be constantly reminding them that that issue that you're discussing with me, you're asking me about, is an issue in which the cells are not performing the way they should. The core of that issue has to do with cell function. I'm going to say it again. The core of their issue has to do with cell function. You have a test that measures cell function. You might not have known that. You thought it was all about omega-6 and omega-3 ratio, but no, it is that, yes, but it is also a very good measure of how well the cells are functioning. You have a way to test for that, and you have a way to improve that. So it becomes very, A to B, B to C, C to D, and you then go on to discuss what other tests that might be valuable for them, like the gut tests. And then the third part of this thing, this graphic, was AI. How does AI play into this? AI is a spectacular tool for getting personalized information. And if you don't help people understand that, I have a consultant that I rely on because no one can manage the amount of information that is coming at us alone. No one. My last job, I had a team of over 100 scientists, and even that wasn't enough. And then all of a sudden, along comes what? AI. Now I have hundreds of thousands of scientists to help me. But you have to know how to use it. So my consultant's mantra with me is use your tools, use your tools, use your tools. And so I'm going to give that mantra to you, which is help people to use their AI tools. Because with AI, you ask a question, and if you get an answer that is above your pay grade or your education level, you don't just sit there and get frustrated. You simply say, more simpler, please. Or tell me in a language that a 10th grader will understand. Or put that in words that a 10-year-old will. I mean, you can go down, you can tell your AI 100 times to simplify, 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 and it will do exactly what you're asking it to do, but you have to ask. You have to learn, in other words, how to use your tools. So personalized information is incredibly valuable. But if all you do is you say, give me a study showing that the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is valuable in improving my health, you're going to get a lot of complex science. And that might be good for you, but it probably won't be good for the person you're talking to who just has a high school education. So help them use AI to get the level of information that makes sense to them so that, why? Because if people knew better, finish the sentence. If people knew better,
They do better.
they would do better.
Okay.
Right. So now let's go to the next graphic real quick, and then I'll pass the baton over to Natalie because she has some things to say too. This is how we do it. All right. Here is the optimal health. Everybody wants optimal health, right? But how do you make it as simple as you can without without going into some kind of, oversimplified panacea? You do it by helping them to understand that no matter what they're doing in terms of improving their diet, no matter what they're doing in terms of regular exercise and improving their health by reducing refined sugar and alcohol, taking the proper supplement, all of those things are valuable endeavors and behaviors, but they all depend on what? Come back with me. They all come back to cell function. And you have a test that measures cell function. And once they get the results, you have a way to help them understand those results using their AI tools or using the video that Natalie and I have created that explains
Welcome.
the results
I'm
that they
Dr.
get
Natalie
from
Kather,
their
a medical
balance
doctor
test,
and
right?
Zinzino.
So you have the tools to help them. And then, of course, you have the products, right? Either the balance oil or the Aqua X or the premium oil. All right, you have the tools to help them to improve their cell function so that all the other things that they're doing that they know are important, right? All the other things that they're doing will actually get better results. They'll get better results if they take care of that foundation, which is optimizing cell function. So these are tools that you can use because, again, we're going out to talk to people who are distracted, who are frustrated with all the hype and hoopla that exists in this arena. They have questions because their neighbor is promoting some, gizmo, that measures your juju. And so we have a way to move in a direction which is scientifically sound, it's ethical, and it actually produces benefits that people can see, feel, and objectively measure. Now,
So that's what sets Zinzino apart from these other
yes,
product offerings,
yes.
is that we can test and not guess. And so the balance test, we often lead with this because, again, it's back to cell function. And in the test, we get to find out that individual, or that individual gets to find out what their omega-6 fats are and their omega-3 fats, saturated fats, and their monounsaturated fats. And it gives us data that we can act
Yep.
on. Yeah. Other tests that this company has includes the new gut test, the new gut health test. And so on your pyramid there, you had diet.
Ah,
And so, I think it makes sense often leading with the balance test.
yeah.
And then when we think about other diet changes people can make, look at how they're doing for their gut health when they consume food. What is becoming of that? Is it a healthy outcome
Yes.
or is it a stressful outcome?
Because food is information.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
And then, of course, especially this time of year, the holidays,
Ah,
sugar spikes. So we have the hemoglobin A1C test. And again, for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, being able to do the vitamin D test is really beneficial.
yeah.
And this vitamin D test, the cost is less than my copay to go see my doctor. So that's very empowering. And again, they're all um, finger stick dried blood spot tests you can do at home. You don't have to get a blood draw. Um, and when you talk about the P words, my favorite P word
Mm.
is protocol, the health protocol premium, the balance oil, but also the xenobiotic, which has 8 natural fibers for optimizing gut health. It's a prebiotic product. Extend, and of course, my favorite, Viva. And I recently made a video about how much I love Viva, and you can find it along with our recordings of this Zinzino Science Insights Zooms at my YouTube channel, which is Natalie Cherniske YouTube channel.
Now, again, that's Aviva is, we've had a number of people who have contacted us uh, because they're surprised at how rapidly Viva tends to reduce anxiety.
Like 20 minutes, man. It's
Yes.
awesome.
And so it sounds like what? It sounds like a panacea, doesn't it? Oh, take this, you're going to feel a whole lot better. But it's not. And how do we know it's not? Because we have the data to show its mode of action. In other words, we know exactly how it does what it does. It helps your brain to create an action plan. All right. And that action plan gives you a sense of calm. Remember, the most anxiety producing part of our daily life is when something comes at you that you don't have an action plan to deal with it. And so the nice thing about Viva is that it helps your brain to organize an action plan. That's how it works.
Yeah, someone was asking me this week if I thought it would help improve their mental clarity. And this person was like in their 50s. And I said, it's been shown to improve cognition
Hmm.
in people in their 70s. So, yes,
Woohoo!
yes.
All right, you had some questions that came in this week.
Yes, one of our Zinzino independent partners says that she said she had a gentleman client who says he can't take omega-3 fats because they drop his blood pressure too low. And she was wondering if that's a real thing. And being supplementing omega-3 fatty acids into the safe zone is a healthy place to be. And so for it to become a problematic lowering of blood pressure, if that's really a real thing, then I think that this man is probably on multiple drugs for his blood
Yes.
pressure, and it's time for him to return to his doctor and have those dosages reevaluated because when the cell works better,
Mm,
everything starts working better. So as the nutrients get into that cell and the waste products get out and energy is working better, then we see head to toe benefits. And we don't always know how that's going to present itself. But we do know that the goal with medical therapy is always to be on the lowest amount of medication needed.
nice.
Yeah.
Now remember that balance oil is not going to take somebody who is normotensive, somebody with normal blood pressure. It is not going to make them hypotensive.
No, it's not going to
So,
cause them to feel lightheaded or
right.
no, no.
No.
Just feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, another question, another customer said that the oil, she started taking the oil and then she started noticing headaches, and she relates it to being allergic to iodine. But yeah, there's no iodine
No.
in the balance oil, whether it's the algae-based vegan one or the regular balance oil or premium, no iodine. Iodine is not in any of those. She said, is there another product I could recommend? So we don't really know where this gal is having her headaches from. She needs to see her healthcare provider so that nothing is missed.
Yeah.
But she may also do better with doing a different flavor or,
Or a lower dose. Remember, oftentimes the solution is dilution. In which case, if somebody's starting with an amount of balanced oil, and they're having any kind of perceived adverse effect, cut the dose in half. and also have them use it with a meal. We use it with food. So in this case, dilution is often the solution.
Okay. And then my favorite question, a non-nursing mom has been asking if it's safe to give the balance oil to her daughter that's only 1 year old. She was afraid it might give her digestive issues. And no, I'm happy to say that we have a client and she started her balance oil when she was 1 year old. And now she's 2.5 and she's doing really
Roxy.
well. Yes, it's a beautiful, healthy child. So congratulations that she is thinking about the importance of getting that little girl into the safe zone and keeping her there. All right.
All right.
Let's see. And then let's open up the chat here and see if anyone else has some questions. All right. Thank you, Gunnar. Is it safe to take the balance oil while taking cholesterol lowering medication? Certainly. Is there a risk that they might affect each other's effectiveness? So Gunnar, I think this is similar to the other question regarding when people have health conditions going on, is as we get healthier in all of our tissues, whether it's the liver or the brain or the heart, muscles, how we process for our metabolism, we want to make sure that we're monitoring so that we're not taking too much medication. We always want to be on the lowest amount of medication that's needed, never more.
Yeah.
So watch for benefits. Test, right? Great question.
All right. My summary statement for today's Sesame Street episode
Dear.
is health is not something that you wear, it's something that you build. Something that you build. And so we're talking about building a better body, are we? Build a better body with Zinzino.
Great.
Great.
All right. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today, and we will see you next week. Take good care of yourselves.
Have a wonderful
you.
week. Feel better,
Thank-
David.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Have a great
so
day,
much.
everybody.
Right, cool.
Great
Thank
job. Thank you. What a
Thanks,
great
guys.
Thank you.
Are we guessing your P's, Stephen?
How many did you get, David?
I've got 48.
14. Okay.
No, 48. 48.
48.
Oh, 48.
Yeah.
Wow. You win the prize, and your prize will be sent to you probably by email, David. We'll send your prize by email.
Thank you.
48. Good count. All right.
Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.
Guys, take care.
Thanks very much.